GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, I'm Jordan Parker. A cyclist was seriously injured on Bloor Street after a tow truck door swung open and traffic snarling near the Rogers Center with TTC line closures. We'll also hear about new public housing near Trinity Bellwoods. Over to you, Nathan.
Empire of the Sun will perform at the Scotiabank Arena on Saturday night, featuring their new album Ask That God, Afterlife, with doors opening at 7:30.
Tickets range from $35 to $80, with premium packages including backstage access and a signed poster, available through the official ticketing website.
The concert marks the third Canadian stop of their North American tour, which began in early May and has already visited Vancouver, Montreal, and Calgary.
Plenty to explore this afternoon, Jordan, but first, the news. Lots to get to. Let's begin our midday update now. Here are our top stories.
A cyclist was seriously injured after colliding with an open-tow truck door at the Bloor Street West and Church Street intersection just before 8:15 a.m., prompting police and ambulance response. Dev Shourie has the full story.
A cyclist was thrown onto the pavement just before 8:15 a.m. Tuesday when a tow truck at the Bloor Street West and Church Street intersection swung its rear door open into the bike lane. The impact knocked the rider to the ground, causing serious injuries that required immediate transport to a trauma center. Police and emergency crews arrived within minutes, securing the scene and directing traffic during the morning rush. Officers are reviewing dash cam footage to confirm how the door opened into the cyclist's path. No other vehicles were reported injured, and the tow operator is cooperating with investigators. The investigation remains ongoing. Dev Shourie, GMNA News, Bloor West.
Jeff Tweedy and Phineas will join the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame ceremony in Toronto to honor inductee Leslie Feist with a tribute performance. Tobias Kwan has the full story.
Jeff Tweedy and Phineas are set to present a tribute to Leslie Feist during the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame's annual induction ceremony this Tuesday, the 25th of August. The event, held in Toronto, will mark Feist's entry into the hall as one of the year's distinguished songwriters. Both Tweedy, frontman of Wilco, and Phineas, known for his work with his sister Billie Eilish, will share stories and performances that highlight Feist's catalog. Organizers say the tribute aims to celebrate her contributions to Canadian music, while the broader ceremony will honor several other songwriters for their lasting impact. The ceremony begins at 10:30 in the morning and will be streamed live for fans across the country. Tobias Kwan, GMNA News, Toronto. Ontario students confront rising debt after the provincial government sharply cut OSAP grants, a move Premier Doug Ford says is needed to curb unsustainable program costs. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Students across Ontario are feeling the sting of new OSAP cuts, as the province's latest budget slashes grant amounts that many relied on to cover tuition and living costs. Campus cafes and library steps are filled with students counting pennies, some saying they may have to take on additional loans or even pause their studies. The reductions, unveiled by Premier Doug Ford earlier this year, were framed as a move to rein in what officials called unsustainable program costs. Yet the immediate fallout is a surge in debt worries, with student groups reporting a rise in inquiries about alternative financing. Universities are seeing more students request deferments as the grant shortfall takes hold. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
The Ontario Special Investigations Unit has cleared a Toronto police officer of wrongdoing after his cruiser collided with a vehicle in Etobicoke, injuring an 18-year-old man. Simona Conquo has the full story.
The Special Investigations Unit has concluded its review of a police-involved collision that occurred yesterday on a busy Etobicoke intersection. According to the SIU report, a Toronto police cruiser failed to stop in time and struck a civilian vehicle, sending it into a nearby street. The impact injured an 18-year-old man. He was transported by ambulance to a local hospital, where doctors said his injuries were not life-threatening. After examining video, witness statements, and officer testimony, the unit found no evidence of misconduct and cleared the officer of any wrongdoing. The SIU's mandate is to investigate serious incidents involving police, and in this case, it determined the officer acted within policy. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Edabikok.
The Special Investigations Unit is probing the death of a 64-year-old man who died in Toronto police custody after allegedly driving through a West End road closure on August 22nd and 23rd. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Police say a 64-year-old man died in custody early Thursday after he allegedly plowed through a temporary road closure on the west side of the city. The incident unfolded on August 22nd and 23rd, 2026. Officers stopped the vehicle near the construction barrier, placed the driver under arrest, and later found him unresponsive in the back of a patrol car. The Special Investigations Unit has opened an inquiry, reviewing the circumstances of the arrest and the medical response. The SIU, Ontario's independent watchdog, examines all deaths and serious injuries involving police. Family members have been notified, and a post-mortem will determine the cause of death. The investigation is ongoing as authorities piece together what happened at the scene. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Toronto.
Up next, we'll explore the new 74-unit public housing near Trinity Bellwoods Park and its impact. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Construction has begun on a 74-unit public housing development adjacent to Trinity Bellwoods Park, part of Mayor Olivia Chow's effort to expand affordable housing in Toronto. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Construction crews broke ground today on a new public housing development adjacent to Trinity Bellwoods Park, adding 74 homes to the neighborhood. Mayor Olivia Chow stood with federal representatives and city officials as the first concrete was poured, marking the start of a project aimed at expanding affordable housing options. The site, located on the block bordering the park's southern edge, will feature mid-rise units designed to blend with the surrounding streets. City planners said the development will provide a mix of 1- and 2-bedroom apartments for families and seniors. Officials highlighted the project as part of a broader strategy to increase housing supply across Toronto. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Trinity Bellwoods.
A massive tree toppled onto Dundas Street East near Sherbourne, shutting down a key east-west corridor in Moss Park. Crews are working to clear the blockage and restore traffic flow. Tobias Kwan has the full story.
A large tree came down early this morning, landing across Dundas Street East just west of Sherbourne Street. The trunk blocks the full width of the lane, halting eastbound and westbound traffic. City crews arrived within minutes, putting up detour signs and routing vehicles onto nearby side streets. Police directed pedestrians around the debris, while a tow truck began the careful removal of the tree. Engineers are inspecting the root system to see if other trees in the area pose a risk. No injuries have been reported, and the road is expected to reopen once the trunk is cleared. Tobias Kwan, GMNA News, Moss Park. The Ontario Provincial Police warns residents that scammers are spoofing official OPP numbers and posing as officers to solicit personal information. This ongoing fraud targets Ontarians across the province. Dev Showri has the full story.
Scammers are flooding Ontarians' phones, pretending to be Ontario Provincial Police officers and even spoofing official OPP numbers. Victims report callers demanding personal information, threatening legal action, or asking for money to settle fabricated fines. The OPP says the calls have risen sharply over the past weeks, targeting seniors and recent home buyers in particular. Police advise anyone receiving an unexpected call from a supposed officer to hang up, verify the number independently, and never share banking details or passwords. The force also urges the public to report suspicious calls to the non-emergency line, noting that genuine officers will never request payment over the phone. Stay alert and protect your personal data. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Toronto.
A new Breakfast Club of Canada report shows 1 in 3 Ontario children live in food-insecure households, with many arriving at school hungry, reflecting a broader rise in Canadian child hunger. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
1 in 3 Ontario children now live in households struggling to put food on the table, according to a new report from the Breakfast Club of Canada. The data, released this year, shows roughly 33% of school-age kids face food insecurity, with many reporting they arrive at class hungry. Officials say the trend mirrors a broader rise in food insecurity across Canada, and the provincial numbers underscore how widespread the issue has become among students. Teachers are seeing more pupils distracted by hunger, and school staff are increasingly turning to breakfast programs to fill the gap. The report calls for expanded support to ensure every child has a reliable meal before lessons begin. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Toronto.
A new CAMH survey shows psychological distress among Ontario youth has fallen since the pandemic, yet remains markedly higher than a decade ago. Experts say the shift reflects lingering impacts. Dev Showri has the full story.
New data released by the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health show a drop in psychological distress among Ontario's young people since the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The province-wide survey compared current levels with those recorded during the pandemic and with figures from a decade ago. While the latest figures are lower than the pandemic peak, they remain notably above the numbers recorded 10 years prior. Experts say the surge in anxiety and depression observed during the pandemic has eased only modestly, leaving youth still facing higher stress than before the virus hit. The report underscores a gradual shift but confirms that the mental health gap has not closed. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Toronto.
Now let's check out your afternoon forecast with our weather team for today.
A deepening low-pressure trough and a brisk northwest jet are shaping today's clear, slightly unsettled pattern. On this date, Toronto once baked to a record high of 31.2 degrees in 2016, a blistering spike that arrived with a lingering heat dome across the Great Lakes. Conversely, the coldest reading fell to 12.2 degrees in 2017, when an unusually strong Arctic front pushed southward, blanketing the city in frost. Normal highs for late August sit near 26 degrees with lows around 16. So today's mild 22 peak feels comfortably below the historic extremes. Turning to the live radar, the screen is completely clear across southern Ontario. No echo bands are visible, confirming a dry air mass that has been capped by a weak inversion. The northwest jet at 114 kilometers per hour is steering any residual moisture aloft, keeping it well north of the city. With no rain on the horizon, we can expect sunshine to persist until after sunset. At noon, the city sits at 19 degrees with mainly clear skies and a modest dew point of 16, indicating ample moisture but limited cloud cover. A near-average pressure field is easing lower, signaling a gradual shift toward unsettled conditions as the trough deepens. The jet stream overhead, a brisk northwest flow at 114 kilometers per hour, is injecting cooler aloft while keeping the surface dry. Temperatures will climb to a high of 22 by mid-afternoon before slipping back to 19 by evening. Winds will remain light, gusting up to 14 kilometers per hour from the southwest, so any breeze feels mild. UV index holds at 6 and no weather alerts are in effect. As the day wanes, the atmosphere remains stable, setting the stage for the next 5-day pattern. Looking ahead, Wednesday brings a modest high of 21 and a low of 13 as an overcast layer drifts in, delivering a 35% chance of rain. Thursday spikes to a warm 26 with a low of 16. Despite clear skies, the lingering moisture field still offers a 35% rain probability. Friday and Saturday both hold steady at a high of 23 and a low of 15 under clear skies, giving the city a dry mid-week stretch. Sunday turns slightly cooler with a high of 25, low of 16, and a light rain chance of 20% as a weak frontal boundary slides east. The pattern reflects a wavering jet that alternates between northwest and southwest streams, producing the temperature swings and scattered showers. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll break down traffic near the Rogers Centre, the Blue Jays versus Royals game, and Empire of the Sun tour. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Severe congestion is building around the Rogers Center. Blue Jays Way and Lower Spadina are gridlocked, with backups spilling onto Front Street and the Gardiner. Expect delays of 15 minutes or more if you're heading to the stadium or the surrounding downtown core. East of the venue, the Gardiner Expressway between British Columbia Road and Lake Shore Boulevard remains closed for C&E detour work. Traffic is routed onto the Lakeshore Road corridor, adding roughly 10 minutes to the usual travel time. Drivers heading west may want to stay on the Don Valley Parkway until the detour clears. Within Exhibition Place, several internal streets stay shut for the fair, pushing event traffic onto the surrounding arterial routes. On transit, the TTC has suspended Line 1 service between Finch West and Lawrence West. Replacement buses are running along Yonge Street, but expect crowded vehicles and longer rides. Escalator outages continue at Wilson, York Mills, Spadina, Pape, and Runnymede, so allow extra time at those stations. Overall, the afternoon will stay heavy around the exhibition grounds, but northbound Gardiner flow should improve after noon. Plan for extra minutes and consider alternate routes where possible.
Toronto Blue Jays take on Kansas City Royals tonight at Rogers Center, and it's Looney Dogs night. Grab a hot dog and cheer the home team while the crowd roars. A perfect midweek excuse to rally with friends. Across town, Empire of the Sun lights up the RBC Amphitheater with their Ask That God tour, delivering synth-driven anthems for anyone craving a summer rave under the stars. A set list of classics and new cuts makes it a must-see for electronic pop fans. If you're looking for a behind-the-scenes peek, guided tour of Scotiabank Arena run today, letting you walk the locker rooms and walkways where the Raptors and Maple Leafs make history. Tour run hourly and are free, easy to fit into a lunch break. Don't miss the buzz this weekend when BTS returns to Rogers Stadium for 2 sold-out stadium shows, the city's biggest pop moment of the week. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Blue Jays are gearing up for a decisive stretch as the playoff race tightens. Ian Finlayson breaks down the Blue Jays' wild card push, spotlighting the clutch hitting, bullpen depth, and defensive versatility that will tip the balance. Those X factors become the engine in the final weeks, forcing rivals to chase every game and giving Toronto a clear path forward. Crossing the 500 threshold is the Blue Jays' next milestone, and a steadier rotation provides the foundation. Consistent starts limit bullpen overload, keep the lineup fresh, and force the division to respect Toronto's surge. Hitting that mark reshapes the wild card picture and fuels momentum. With the final month looming, the Blue Jays sit in control of their playoff destiny, but gaps remain. Enhancing late-inning offense, tightening defensive lapses, and sustaining starter health will be decisive. Execute those upgrades and Toronto can lock the postseason on its own terms. Stay tuned, the final push could rewrite Toronto's postseason story.
Thanks, Marcus. Green Shield, now open in downtown Toronto's Commerce Court South, is Canada's only national nonprofit healthcare and insurance organization. Today the doors swung open on a fresh office that brings 700 staff under one roof, uniting the team that once scattered across the city. The move means faster, more coordinated service for Ontarians, from simple claims to complex health programs, and signals a stronger local presence in the heart of the financial district. For Torontonians, it's a reminder that a city built on caring for its people can thrive when the people who protect our health choose to work right here. Green Shield's downtown home is a boost for the neighborhood's economy and community spirit. Stay tuned as we reveal how new tree removal rules taking effect Sept. One will reshape the city's canopy, coming up next. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Today's free outdoor movie at Harbourfront Centre brings a sunny 1960s beach adventure film to the Toronto waterfront, filling the promenade with families and friends enjoying the summer vibe. The crowd gathers on the boardwalk as the screen lights up against the skyline. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. The sun has just slipped behind the lake as the Harbourfront Centre Plaza fills with families, couples, and friends spreading blankets on the concrete promenade. String lights drape over the open-air stage, casting a warm amber glow on the towering glass towers across the water. The scent of salty breeze mixes with popcorn vendors pushing carts, their neon signs flickering. At 8:30 p.m., the screen lights up, rolling a cheerful 1960s beach adventure that promises sand, surf, and slapstick comedy. Kids clutch soda cups while elders smile, recalling the golden age of drive-in movies. Laughter ripples across the dock as the reel spins, and a soft murmur of conversation rises whenever a wave laps the pier. It's more than a movie, it's a moment where neighbors gather, sharing laughter under the stars. The Free Flick series turns the waterfront into a communal living room, reminding us that simple pleasures still bring the city together. Carl Dumont virtually at Harbourfront Centre.
Welcome back. 5 Ontario towns remain without the Greenbelt reimbursements the provincial government pledged, despite pressure from opposition members and Premier Doug Ford's office. The delayed payments stem from costs incurred during the Greenbelt scandal. Dev Showri has the full story.
The provincial government has yet to fulfill a promise to reimburse 5 Ontario towns for expenses tied to the Greenbelt controversy. Premier Doug Ford and his progressive conservative team had pledged to cover the costs municipalities incurred after land use decisions sparked the scandal. Opposition members of provincial parliament have pressed the government, noting that the municipalities are still bearing the financial burden. The 5 communities whose names have not been disclosed say they have submitted the required documentation but remain without payment. Officials say the reimbursement process is underway, but no timeline has been provided. Residents continue to face budget pressures while awaiting the promised funds. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Toronto.
Toronto will enforce stricter tree removal bylaws on September 1st, requiring owners to obtain permits for protected trees and face penalties for non-compliance. The changes aim to bolster urban canopy protection. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
The city's updated tree protection bylaw takes effect on September 1st, 2026, tightening the process for cutting down any tree listed as protected. Property owners now must submit a detailed removal application, including an arborist assessment, and obtain a municipal permit before any work begins. The permit office will review each case for compliance, and owners may be required to plant a replacement tree on the same lot or elsewhere in the city. Officials say the changes aim to curb unnecessary loss of mature canopy. A further set of amendments is slated for implementation in 2027, expanding the list of species covered and adding penalties for violations. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Parkdale.
Thanks for joining us, Toronto. Today's look at the new public housing project near Trinity Bellwoods reminded us how vital community growth is. I'm Jordan Parker, and I'll see you back tomorrow for another lunch break, bringing the stories that matter to our city.